Hello, and welcome. My Aquarian Collective Sun, Moon, Rising signs. Welcome to your What Do I Need read for February 2020's full moon to new moon next. I am your reader, Mark Angelo Lyons, Mal for short, president of Drawing the Circle Productions, professional witch, professional intuitive, and friend to many of an Aquarian. Probably just an occupational thing. My pleasure to be reading for you today. Before we get into this reading, please do like and subscribe. I'm getting closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers. So that I can monetize, so that I can do super live chat, so that I can do Drunk Tarot once a month for fun on super live chat. Check the description box below. I've got some links down there, one of which explaining what Drunk Tarot is. I think you'd like it. I think you'd like the idea of it. And that is my favorite video from 2019, so go check it out. It's a hoot. Makes me laugh at least. Let's get down to business, though, for this particular reading. We're looking at the full moon in Leo, which is on the 9th. If you're going to do any kind of magic or casting or intention work, you might want to do that on the 8th, because on Sunday the 9th, it's like 2:30 a.m., right? At least Eastern Standard, or Eastern, whatever we are. Get lost track. So you might want to kind of do your intention work on Saturday night, but that does run that waning moon until new moon in Pisces on the 23rd. So do keep in mind the 3 days before that will be dark moon, and it will be dark moon in Aquarius because it's new moon in Pisces. So you just might want to keep an eye on those days. Maybe don't book them too heavily, right? Just saying. Also, this is a general read. So what we're doing here is we've got 7 different decks on deck, so to speak. 5 different voices of the divine. 2 decks are going to be for the same voice of the divine, and then 1 collective, all of them together. So they all don't have to agree. They can all be different aspects, but keep in mind I'm mining the quantum fields, right? I say that pretty much every video, so please just take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Go check your other signs. That's why I always do Sun, Moon, Rising for the What Do I Need reads. And what's a What Do I Need read, you may ask? Well, it's sort of like going to the divine and saying, hey, look, I'm a soul incarnate, and I'm learning, and I'm healing, and I'm growing, and walking my spiritual path. What do I need? Right? I've been saying it all along. It's like pulling a card of the day, but being a little more specific than what's my card of the day. What do I need, right? So this is looking at a waning moon, so it could very much have to do with what you need to let go, what you need to transform, and that's why they changed the way I'm doing it again this time. They always change it. Well, I guess I asked them to. I'm like, because I want it to be the best that it can be. So there's, even if it's just a tiny little thing, there's always a refining process going on. Rock and roll, right? Got to keep growing. So that being said, please remember to breathe. I know we're going to breathe anyway, but to be consciously aware of it. As you know, I've been studying breath work for decades, on and off, not like as a main focus, but did rebirthing. I mean, I read Leonard Orr and Sandra Ray back in the 80s. I rebirthed myself for the first time with one of their books alone. Not a great idea, but, I'm a witch. What are you going to do? So just keep in mind, if you're being consciously aware of your breathing and I'm being consciously aware of mine, and we're both focused on the same intent, getting you information of the divine, right? A divinitory experience, asking and answering, hopefully, the question, what do I need? Well, then we're both tuning to the divinity in breath, right? So just find the still point. Ah, that lovely, delicious moment. That's where I connect with the divine. If you're doing the same, you're going to be doing this reading along with me, regardless of the distance or timing. Cool. Here we go. Nice deep breath, my Aquarians. As we ask the angels. Doreen Virtue's Healing with the Angel Oracle. All the decks I read are in the description box below. Here we go. My angels, please 1 card in clarity for the Aquarian Collective Sun, Moon, Rising signs for this full moon to new moon in February 2020. Broad stroke angel card. What healing with the angels is available for them? What do they need this February 2020, full moon in Leo to new moon in Pisces. Well, good. Support. Now, support certainly of the angels. I mean, that's 24/7, 365 for every living soul, believe it or not. Well, every soul incarnate, I should say. Every soul obviously is living, whether they're in a body or not. Obviously, fuck do we know? Let's keep it real. But the spiritual support is there for you certainly in this time, and that also look to the support of friends. And what I'm getting really clear here, you know, Aquarians are sort of the friends of the zodiac, right? 11th house is very much humanitarian, right? They want to serve, but they want to like make an impact on the world. I mean, the internet itself is an Aquarian device, unifying people. Oh, the age of Aquarius and the spiritual movement and all this higher mind stuff is just very, very Aquarian. So to turn to your networks if needed, right? To find the support that you need, or maybe perhaps give the support that you can, but we'll see what else these cards have to say. I mean, there's so many ways that you can take one word like support. I'm trying to feel that one out for you all, but it does feel like, hey, during this full moon, new moon, even if there's no one else you can think of as being a part of a support system for you, it's there for you in spirit, which means in the breath, in the moment, all around you, all the time, right? It's not dependent upon external circumstances, but that doesn't mean you can't say, hey, okay, I need the support. How do I tune to it? How do I feel it? And, you know, we're going to keep going. We're going to take a Daughters of the Moon Tarot to represent the voice of the goddess, right? The divine feminine of all that is. What do you need? Now, could say something totally different. That's this time they were like, don't be surprised if the cards, not necessarily contradictory, but really point at different things. Don't know why, but here we go. Nice deep breath. Oh, still point. My goddesses, please. One card in clarity for the Aquarian collective. Sun, moon, rising sign for this full moon in Leo to new moon in Pisces. And they will be in dark moon in Aquarius, my goddess. And it's dark moon, my goddess. So please, what do they need? What do they need for this February 2020 waning moon cycle? Interesting, the Gemini card. Now, again, fellow air sign. What I love about this deck is that it doesn't mince around with the zodiac signs. Prints it right on the card. But prints it right on the card. It says Gemini on it. Hina, definitely that sort of air spirit. That of gathering information, right? Like even over the cosmic rainbow, just expanding the mind. Different than Aquarius. Aquarius is fixed air. It's seeing things stratospherically. It's the larger picture. But Gemini is the gathering of information, self-expression, third house. Communication, certainly. And again, with the support there, it's like if you really need to speak and be heard, I mean, look, we can all talk to the divine. It's called prayer, like whatever you want to call it, whatever you call the divine, right? Just talk, right? Talk to spirit. But if there really is that what you need is self-expression here, or to gather information, and I love the idea of the butterfly, because I've dated Geminis, how they kind of go from flower to flower to flower, like bees from flower to flower to flower to flower, gathering the pollen and the nectar, etc. And it is sort of like that process for a mutable air experience in terms of expressing yourself. So you need that. You might need to find a new way of getting those thoughts out, or maybe even your emotions, air sign. Keeping in mind, you know, whatever your sun sign is, check your moon sign, because that's your emotional stuff. That's the internal, that's the yin world. So we're going to use the Mythic Tarot, Juliet Sharman Burke's deck, which I love, based on Greek mythology, which is my bailiwick. For what do you need from the voice of the gods, right? The divine masculine energy. Think of it as half the universal energy that's in everything is divine masculine, the other is divine feminine. Then you get God, goddess, mother, father, you know, whatever you want to call it, but yin yang, which I prefer, but you know, I'm living in the west, not the east. Nice deep breath. Oh my gods, please. One card in clarity for this Aquarian collective, sun, moon, rising sign for this full moon in Leo to new moon in Pisces. Again, considering the moon, it's going to be dark moon in Aquarius before it hits new in Pisces. What do they need for this waning moon, February 2020? This just came up in the Aries reading. You saw me shuffle it, right? Well, you've got Heracles, the card of strength, and just what's funny about that is, see this P somewhere? Maybe you can't see it. It's choker. It's very 90s, right? I love this thing. Fucking weapon if you need. It's really heavy. But this is the totem of Heracles. So here he is, right? As if to say, look, it is the hero's journey that you're on, right? It is the 12 labors. You are going through something that's going to call upon a strength that is perhaps beyond your own, right? It's like it's a spiritual support to really have the strength to communicate, to ask, right? To express yourself. And it takes such courage to do that, right? That strength of heart, the grace of fortitude, the grace of endurance. I love the strength card. Keeping in mind that it is Leo energy, right? The opposite of your sign, right? But certainly that need to roar and express yourself and perhaps stand up for yourself. Now, I know many Aquarians. I've never met any of them that, at least in my energy field, that ever had a problem expressing themselves. Well, except for stuff that they really didn't want anybody to know, but that's everybody. This doesn't feel that way. This feels like there's almost an expression of ideas, let alone that there might be some passion behind it. But to have the strength there and to know that you have the support, that that's what you need to do this, right? So you need that major arcana. Say the prayer, God give me strength. But well, you know, anybody could say, oh, God give me strength, but that's colloquial. But to me, God, draw upon the breath, the divine, give me the strength of heart, right? Not just about the physical endurance, although sometimes that too. It's God, may the gods grant me the strength to endure the process of me becoming the best of who I can be. It's a fucking hero's journey. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask the masters with the Love Pack by Chuck Spezzano. That's why it's so easy. Like, particularly these type of reads. I could go into any of these cards for hours. I don't on YouTube. Nice deep breath. Let's ask the Ascended Masters, what's the T? What's the TAMs? Oh, please, one card in clarity for this Aquarian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising sign. For this full moon in Leo, new moon in Pisces, passing through that dark moon in Aquarius for them. Please, please, one card. What do they need for this waning moon, February 2020? To look at your neediness. Now, that's what I said about the waning moon part of it. Neediness is certainly part of the ego that's being unraveled as we evolve spiritually, because if we're one with everything, what do we need? Lovely. There are times where we just feel it, and that can even be from unresolved stuff emotionally from the past. But it might, with this card of strength, to be able to give that neediness a voice, knowing that you are supported by the divine, but maybe no one else needs to hear that voice. Do you know what I mean? It's like that rite of confession, to get something off your chest, to have the strength to acknowledge, because nobody wants to feel needy. It doesn't necessarily feel good, nor is it socially acceptable. But, you know, it's something my mom always said to me: food, clothing, shelter. That's what you need. Well, and I would add to that love, right? We all need love, but, I mean, some people might find that as more optional than necessity, right? So at least get into, well, what are my needs then? Let me verbalize them, because I have the support of spirit, and yes, and for a good chunk of you, I'm not going to say a minor part of the collective here, I can feel a good chunk of you actually have the friends that would give you the confidentiality for you to really get shit off your chest. But pride, you might not want to burden them, right? It's like, I get it. But that neediness, what is the needy if it's not the child inside of us? Like, look into inner child work, which is really nothing more and certainly nothing less than giving love to your heart chakra, seeing your heart chakra itself, the anahata, the unstuck, sometimes feels like it gets stuck and broken, right? To bless it, to talk to it, to give it the love that only you can give it. And when you see it as the inner child, which, by the way, has both the psychological as well as the spiritual history and background. I started doing inner child work in the 80s. Still, well, okay, I was 18, 19 years old, not technically a child, but you know what I mean, I was still a youngin'. So it's just invaluable work to know that. It's like, well, tell me what you need, sweetheart. Let me get you what you need, right? It's parenting the inner child. And that's John Bradshaw, start there, Homecoming. I believe he might have coined the term. Don't quote me on that, though. And don't drag me through the gutter either if I'm wrong. It's like, well, in neediness, right? A void that can't be filled by anybody else except ultimately God, the divine, or ourselves. It's not easy, but who the fuck doesn't go through a stage or a piece of neediness in their entire lives? I mean, honey, I know wealthy people who are just as needy as fuck, right? So we all have that. And clear that from the collective. Going into what is the healing mantra, the Matt Kahn deck from the Ascended Masters. We really need one for that. I'm feeling it. My masters, breathe. Yeah, I bet you're breathing better now, aren't you? Still point. My masters, please. One card in clarity, a healing mantra, please, for this Aquarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising sign. What do they need this full moon to new moon next? It's waning. Yeah, maybe they're dealing with somebody else's neediness. Totally possible. Whether your own or somebody else's, to understand and have compassion for that child in your heart and the child in someone else's heart, even if they don't know this language, even if they wouldn't know from inner child to a hole in the ground. Although a hole in the ground I find is rather easy to know because they're all over. My masters, please, one card. What is the healing mantra for this Aquarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising sign? Dear good Goddess Almighty, expand inner power. I am my most powerful when my creativity is given a voice. Self-expression, creativity, the courage to put yourself out there. Here's a little book. I'm going to read you from the... Put it aside, obviously. What I love about this deck, one side is the name of the mantra, which yours is expanding inner power, which, you know, look at that strength card. It's that courage, if you will. I am my most powerful when my creativity is given a voice is the mantra, but I'm going to look it up in the little bookie book for you. It's not much. Won't take long if I can fucking find it. Expanding inner power. There's a lot of EXs in this one. I am at my most powerful when my creativity is given a voice. When inner power expands, you are able to openly communicate your truths, aspirations, and ideas as a way of circulating the energy that pours in from the cosmos. In other words, coming in through the crown chakra, hitting the third eye. Let it out the throat a little bit. Give it voice. As energy gets circulated, by the sharing of your ideas, the universe is given permission to pour more information, passion, and joy into your energy field. As your inner power expands, creativity becomes the life force of source energy surging through you to inspire the embodiment of your highest self. But that neediness in there, that's part of it. That's got to be part of that child. It's like, breathe into that. Give it voice. Give it, like an act of confession. No one else needs to hear it. Say it to your gods, to your masters, to your angels. Have that conversation. Last little bit here. This mantra is ideal for resolving creative blocks, healing traumas, and releasing blocks of stagnation. Fixed air, just saying. Expanding inner power. I like doing this way. I hope we get to do it because they are connected, but from different levels of consciousness. In other words, they all don't have to say exactly the same thing. I like this a lot. Nice deep breath. We're going to ask the higher selves of all involved through the Whispers of Love Oracle. Love this deck. Ooh, still point for Aquarians. Woo, all them Aquarian higher selves. Please, one card in clarity for this Aquarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising sign for this full moon. in Leo to new moon in Pisces. They're going to be passing through dark moon in the sign of Aquarius. So please, the higher selves of all involved, what do they need for this waning moon, February 2020? Slow down. I love this deck. It just tells you, slow the fuck down. Obviously, they didn't write the fuck on the card. That's my little spice thrown in. Slow down. When you are excited, you get ahead of yourself. Take some time to allow things to unfold because your inner power is expanding. There is great strength. It takes courage to do it because you're at your most powerful when your creativity is given a voice. Slow down. What does a yellow light mean? Slow down. What does I was raised on television, apparently. Nice deep breath. We're gonna... Oh, yeah, wait, you thought you were getting off that easy with just slow down? We're getting the voice of the collective. I said one deck for all of them. The angels, the goddesses, all of them. Caroline Mace archetype card. You're going to look at what's being alchemized from lead to gold. What is it that... What are the 3 extra atoms, right? Lead has 3 more atoms than gold. What 3 extra atoms have to be burned off, transformed, let go of, surrendered, something, something. Waning moon, right? In a soul power that is currently active within you, or at least will be active for this waning moon. Nice deep breath, please. Still point, please. My collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved, please. One card in clarity for this Aquarian collective. Sun, moon, rising sign. What is the archetype they need to look at, to alchemize, to evolve, to heal from shadow to light? This February waning moon. The scribe archetype. Maybe perhaps some journaling or recording going on for you with the scribe. We always think of it as written, but now with digital media, just video alone, right? All the different ways that you can preserve information. Now remember, shadow and light, always a balance. Where are you here? And you're trying to go that way, right? What you need, the shadow attribute, altering facts or plagiarizing others' work. So, altering facts, think about that in terms of, well, you're going to be doing some self-expression, or at least you need to, expanding your inner power, you're giving your creativity voice. So in terms of the shadow attribute, altering facts, in terms of expressing it, or plagiarizing others' work. There's nothing wrong with saying, yes, I'm very inspired by this or that or this or that. I mean, here's the thing about being a spiritual teacher. You just don't learn spiritual quotes, you live them, and you put them in your own voice, in your own ways. I do my best to, if I'm going to quote something, I do my best to quote it accurately, or at least say it's a paraphrase, and this is the teacher, or this is the book, or this is where it comes from. That's just being honorable in my line of work. If you're not in this line of work, just know that whatever it is that you need to express here, if it comes into the shadow aspect of it, be aware of either you altering facts or facts just being altered, or plagiarizing, stealing other people's work, because you're shooting for the light attribute, preserving knowledge and information. So this can all be about your story. This can all be about stuff that you have been through, stuff that you're carrying, perhaps emotionally, although I have to say, not a lot of water going on here, a whole lot of air going on, right? I mean, we've got the angel card of support. It's like that atmospheric, very Aquarian looking card too. It's like we're all in this together. With that Gemini card, and yes, can a Gemini be involved here? Absolutely, but it's in terms of what you need. Even if a Gemini comes into your life, it's being exposed to third house energy, right? So what do you need if you're going to interact with that Gemini mercurial fast thinky, communicate self-expression energy? Go for it, but it's going to take some strength. That the card of strength doesn't just come up in a what do I need read card unless it's really something that you need. And I'm touching my heart. It's like you need to have the courage to do this, perhaps to express what needs to be expressed, because giving your creativity a voice, you're at your most powerful when, right? That's that mantra. And yet this card of the neediness is really sort of like, I don't want to say the turd in the punch bowl, but to like remember that can be part of this heart stuff, is really to go within and get in touch with that neediness. It's so funny, we almost neglect the needy child of our heart. And it's neglect. It's still neglect, right? I mean, it's like, oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I love you. That child, you see, has the keys to the creativity and the freedom when it feels safe, when it feels loved. It just does. When it feels full, right? But then again, there's no rush here. Slow down. Even when you're getting excited about it, breathe through it. Breathe through it. Because if this really is about, in some way, preserving information about you, about your life, obviously about something of import, right? This isn't just about, accounting. Although, yeah, taxes, I guess, scribes do that kind of sort of, ow, hurts my head. But then why would the angels be like, we've got you here in this support? No, this feels a little bit more soul-moving and something that you got to really look at over the next week or two in terms of perhaps speaking the truth in a way that might be emotional for you, or at least finding a creative way of voicing that, particularly with that scribe archetype. So there you have it. May you be blessed with the very, very best of this waning moon, right? The Leo, full moon in Leo to new moon in Pisces, my Aquarians. May you heal, may you grow, and know that it's okay to slow down and take the journey on this one too. So this might extend past this 2-week period. But may you be blessed with all that you need to heal, to grow. You have the support, and to find your voice and be at your most powerful by giving your creativity that voice for the well-being of all. And so it is. Wishing you, again, the very best and the very blessed of this waning moon period. But for now, my Aquarians, hail, farewell, and blessed be.